Hi everyone, how are you doing? I will be presenting my topic, that is English Teacher Professional Development. A quick introduction, my name is Putu Indra Kusuma. Let's talk about the topic. So, I chose English Teacher Professional Development as my topic for the assignment 1 because I'm teaching prospective teachers in Indonesia and then I'm studying um, at Western in special education literacy studies concentrating on TESOL, teaching English for speaker of other languages. So that's why then my world is very close to teacher education program and I'm interested in this topic. When we talk about the quality of the teacher is very important because the quality of teacher will determine the quality of teaching and learning that they will implement in the classroom. And then the quality of teacher is often determined by the professionalism that they have attained. So if you want to be teachers, then you must continue your study into education institutions. And then to improve your professionalism, then you must do training and also you must attend some conferences. Um, Teacher professional development, everyone, has always been a very interesting topic in research because we know the quality of teacher changes over time. So it's very interesting to talk about this topic. And however, how this topic is conducted in research for this decade is unknown. So that's why then I chose this topic. And to meet with this purpose, uh, I tried to sample 15 papers from American Educational Research Association or AERA. The reason why I chose this association because it has annual meeting or conference, and then many presenters come annually to this conference with very interesting topics of research. So that's why it's very interesting for me. Uh, However, everyone, not all presentations have papers for public download when I search on the online repository. So that's why then I used papers from 2010 to 2019 because it's impossible for me to use papers only for from 2019. So that's why then I chose from 2010 to 2019 to widen my opportunities to get papers for my assignment one. Fortunately, all papers have methods, so I can use these papers for my assignment too. And when I did an in-depth investigation, then I found three current issues such as content areas improvement, factors affecting teachers' professional development, and then teaching practices. So it means that during this decade, when we talk about teaching, English teaching professional development, then there are three current issues. When we talk about the types of presentations, everyone, so there are three types: poster, roundtable, and paper. Um, so the most chosen types of presentation was paper presentation with seven, yeah, seven presentations, and then the list is poster presentation. So without any further ado, let's talk about the first topic, that is content area improvement. So, Yelan in 2010 addressed that the roles of new technologies play in multimodal learning remain unclear. So, how technologies is used in content area is still unknown. So that's why then it's very interesting topic for Yelan, and then Yelan investigated this topic. And then Walker, Foot, Green, Zig, and Schumann 2012 they addressed that when the CNI faculty were challenged to revise their courses to include preferred practices for teaching English learners, and then it remains unclear. So that's why they did in-depth investigation about it. The next one, Bradkovich addressed in her study that exploring how linguistically responsive content area teachers who speak in the students' home languages help their students successfully enter college or career remain unclear. For your information, everyone, in TESOL, the linguistically responsive content area uh, is very popular and then very recent topic in TESOL. And then Baker 2019 addressed how teachers describe ELLs. So ELLs is English language learners, which then play a part in enacting students' and teachers' identities in the discourse in teaching remain unclear. Um, then let's talk about the topic two, about factors affecting professional development. The first one, also in 2010, addressed that how white middle-class European American women's ideologies toward ELLs and their education remain unknown. So it's very important to identify these ideologies. I mean, how it affects the professional development. And then Thales and Manti addressed a major problem in which the survey research suggested that teachers lacked confidence when teaching English learners and why these perceptions existing remained unknown. Then Imekus and Alamilo 2013 addressed that how the teachers conducted cultural responsibilities in a teacher education program remained unknown. The next one is C. Zaire and Maina 2019 addressed that how teachers enhanced their self-efficacy to implement the SIOP model to ELL students remain unclear. Uh, and the last paper is Mike Lackland, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this one, Zodwigs and Pinegar 2019 addressed that it was important to understand how teachers' knowledge and beliefs about the LL's issues and their motivation influence their classroom practices. So those are papers for topic 2. And then for topic 3, it's about teaching practices. Uh, the first article is Kelly and Smith addressed that how science education and TESOL faculty collaborate in teaching ELL students was unknown. It's very common in the States. Subject area teachers then will work collaboratively with TESOL teachers. So Kelly and Smith tried to address this problem. And then Lara Alicio, Ting, Fan, and Guerrero 2014 identified the major problem that there was a like lack of published research available that compared teachers' pedagogical differences between two settings, for example, the United States and Costa Rica. So that's why they investigated how these teachers in two countries implemented their teaching practices. And then One Hill and in some pain 2016 addressed that how the global zone project's effectiveness and its impact on faculty and staff's perception of international students and their learning process remain unclear. The next paper is Kozlowski 2019 addressed that ELLs are changing every time, but teachers are not changing their practices enough. So it's very common in teaching area. And then it was therefore important to investigate the professional development for teachers of English learners. Um, then the next one is Costigan 2019 identified that there were many reforms after the release of No Child Left Behind Act. So this is Act in the States. And then therefore this research explored those reforms in teacher development programs, especially those related to teaching practices. And then Honixveld and Dove 2019 addressed that there is a policy endorsed shift in instruction from traditional pull-out stand-alone English language development ELD programs that segregated ELLs from their peers to integrated services. However, how this policy then impacted the power structure of collaborative integrated elementary and secondary classroom remain unknown. And now let's talk about the quality of the paper, and this will be the last part of my presentation. In general, everyone, all papers had introduction, method, findings, and conclusion parts, which is very important because in the scientific writing, then we need these parts. So, for example, from introduction, we know the rationale, why the researchers conducted this study, and then the method will enable us to understand about how the study is implemented. The findings, of course, we'll talk about the data and so on and so forth. Those parts were written in good qualities. What I mean by good qualities here, they use proper English, they use academic English, and then they provide important information for the readers, and then readers could understand the information provided in the papers. And then these papers also contain theoretical and empirical supports. So both are very important in academic writing because we cannot just give our opinion. Everything must be based on theories, and then empirical supports. However, there are some low qualities found in some papers. For example, just like what I investigated, um, I found that papers presented in paper presentation that's supposed to be very informative, very not only informative but contain a lot of information needed by the readers. Uh, they were written concisely, and then some important parts of the research were not included. So, as you can imagine, that most reader will will find difficulties to understand um, this research. So that's why then I said some of them had low qualities. And that's all about my presentation, everyone. Thank you very much, and then see you in my next presentation.